Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll go over how to submit your Pokemon cards or other types of TCG cards to PSA. So this video will be broken down into three segments. The first segment I'll show you guys how to prepare your cards in order for them to be sent out for grading. The second part will be me going through the PSA website and then showing you guys some tips that you should follow in order to submit. So this is new to 2024, I believe, that there is sort of some guidelines that PSA wants you to follow. And then step three would be going essentially through the motions and filling out the form and going through the process in order for you to submit your own cards. And finally, I'll show you guys how to prepare them before they get sent off for grading and what you need to include in your package. I should also add that the PSA submission process is the same for both US and Canadian addresses. The only difference is that if you are Canadian, you will have to pay a bit more for the shipping as well as the shipping of the cards back to you. But other than that, they're virtually the same process. And yeah, that should be it. Let's get started. All right, so how do you actually prepare your cards for grading? So you need two things. One is the penny sleeves, and the other thing is card saver ones. So just really quickly, I would take a penny sleeve. I'll use this Tag Team Ultra Rare card as an example today. This will also be the card that will input into the system. Prop it open with your index finger, give it a little bit of a push, and then it should be pretty effortless to just get it in, and this should be good enough. So essentially you don't want to cause too much friction, so that's why you hold it out and then you sort of just slowly stick it in, and then this will essentially be what you would send to PSA. And then so I just want to show you guys that you do want to know the exact card that you're going to submit. So here it would be a Venusaur and Snivy. And then what's important is essentially the number down here, which indicates the set as well as the set number. And this will be really important later on when we're inputting the information for our order, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. Essentially how you would ship it out. So then let's go back to the PSA website now. So this is PSA's website. It's just psacard.com. I think this website's rather intuitive, pretty well laid out. Essentially, I want to show you guys actually the info center. So here, they tell you the grading guidelines, what constitutes a PSA 10, and then you can look at, the different grades and then what sort of, for example, imperfections or sort of centering that will be acceptable for the given grade. I think what is also really useful is if you go into PSA card packaging guide here, this is some new information on this is actually what we just discussed about on how to actually prepare the cards for grading, but then here they actually want you to, or they want to make sure that you're actually ordering the cards in the correct order that you submitted the online form in. It says, also failure to do so will sort of increase your price by 5%. And also it seems like they do want you to, when you mail it in, protect it by sandwiching your cards in between cardboards and then bubble wrapping your cards, and then putting your order confirmation, which I'll show you guys later, into the box, and then I think importantly also adhering your submission ID on the outside so they can easily scan it and know that it's your package. And I think then we can go into how to actually do the submission. So going back to their main page, if we just click on the services and prices, and we want to be looking at trading card authentication and grading. So here are some of the pricing guidelines. So the $15 and the $19 are Collectors Club only, so they're the cheaper options. However, you do need to be a PSA member. That fee is about $100, I believe, the last time I checked. Yeah, so $100 for the cheapest, and that will unlock the sort of cheaper grading tiers, the $15 and the $19 tiers. And so, I mean, if it's, if you're submitting a lot of cards very often, then definitely it's worth the lower tier. But then if you're submitting cards that are more expensive, generally, and you want it back faster and you don't mind paying a little bit more, then there is no need for you to get the sort of membership. But do keep in mind that, if your cards aren't worth that much, so here it says the declared value is $199 or less for the bulk. And then, so that what that means is essentially after you grade your card, given the current condition of your card, you estimate what grade it'll get, and then in turn what the current sort of market price is. If you believe it's under $199, then you can use the sort of trading card game bulk. However, if your card is more expensive, around $500, for example, you would sort of use the value tier, which is more expensive. However, one caveat is I do notice that, like previously, even if I had a few cards that were actually over the declared value amount, I didn't actually get upcharged. But I did hear a lot of stories. It seems to be very common for orders to be upcharged. So what that means is if you submitted a very expensive card using the cheaper tier and it gets a really high grade, or the value becomes over $199 for this bulk, then you would actually have to pay an excess fee or an extra fee on top of what you already paid. And so, yeah, so that's up to you guys whether you want to get the membership or not. But let's just start with the submission. The submission process is exactly the same depending whether you're doing the bulk or the value. So then I'll just start with the value for now. I'll show you guys how it's done. There's estimated turnaround times here, so keep in mind that usually the more expensive the tier that you're going with, the faster the turnaround time will be, so the faster you receive your cards back. However, the cheaper tiers such as the value or the value bulk usually takes a bit longer in order for you to get your cards back. So you have to start a submission. This takes us to our online submission center dashboard. And so what this shows us is sort of our incomplete submissions, what we did in the past, maybe we didn't finish it yet. It also shows us our recent submissions. However, for us today, we'll start a new submission here. So for Pokemon cards, we want to just click the trading cards as the item type. For the submission type, we want to just click grading, unless your card actually has an autograph on it that you would like to have it authenticated. Just click the no autograph authentication and then click next. Here is the service level options. If you did opt in for a PSA membership, this is where you'll see the lower price tiers, namely the bulk tiers, which are, I believe, $15 right now. But since, let's just say for demonstration today, I want to submit the regular, so I'll choose the regular service level. The max declared value per item is 1.5K, and it will cost $75 per item or per card that I want to get graded. And here is where the important part is. So this is where we actually add each of our cards that we want to get graded. So let's go back to our example, the Venusaur and Snivy. So I would just try to input the card name as close as possible. So here, and then if you remember that there was a card number at the bottom, on the bottom left hand corner, so you would want to look at what your card number is and then try to match it. So I know there's quite a lot of different options. It also has different languages too. And so here I believe this should be the card. So we know the set is from Cosmic Eclipse, and then we can see 249 here and secret. So there's other options that you want to avoid, which is the other languages. So you want to make sure that you just pick the one that doesn't have any sort of further indication of language. So this is generally the English variant, which, yeah, it basically doesn't say English, but since it doesn't say the other languages, we know that it should be in English. So this is where you declare the estimated value for your card. So maybe, if it gets a PSA 10, it might get $150. So I'll just put that for now and I'll click save. So actually here you can keep on adding new items. If you have, like, let's say a Charizard, you can search up which Charizard you have and make sure it's the sort of just the right description. So this will ultimately form the basis for your label. And so let's go next. After you're done, you can go next. Here there are two options now. One is ship to your PSA vault. So this is essentially shipping to your storage at PSA, but then I believe most of you guys might want to just pick the ship back to me option. So this is essentially the cards being shipped back to your address that you want. And there is a shipping cost that you'll see here. So this will be derived from essentially the declared value of your goods. So if you had a PSA voucher, you can input it here. Then you can input your credit card number. So essentially that's the end of this process. You can see in step 6, you'll receive a confirmation. So here you want to double check that you entered everything correctly. You choose the correct shipping options. You chose the correct sort of addresses that you want it to ship back to you. And then step number 7 is just simply submitting it. Right. So after you get through the payment steps and then the sort of confirmation steps, you'll get this page. And essentially this document tells you this is the date of submission. So this is one of my past submissions, but essentially it says it's good for 30 days. So you want to get your order into PSA within 30 days. It actually outlines pretty clearly what you need to do. It gives you pretty detailed instructions on your next steps. So I think what's notably important is that remember that they want 2 copies of the PSA submission form, including the item list and payment instructions. So you just have to print it out and put it in your package for them. And then so you have to provide some of these documents, print the pages. What's important is you want to have the submission ID label printed and placed on the outside of your package. So the PSA staff can scan your package once it's arrived and update the online system accordingly. And then, so I think another really important thing is in the last step of this document, it will tell you, the shipping addresses that you need to write on your package. So this is critical as depending on whether you're sending through USPS or if you're sending, from Canada using Canada Post, you would want to use this address for PSA on the left. However, if you're sending through FedEx, you would want to use the address on the right. So I believe this is just different mailbox depending on the sort of carrier that you're choosing. And then after this page, it'll reveal my address, but there'll also be information on, the exact items that you're submitting to be graded. So this will be the items that you ultimately inputted in the previous page. And yeah, essentially that is it. And then I'll briefly go over how to package your items, but it's essentially very similar to what is outlined on the PSA website and what is sort of described in step 2 of this document. To package your cards properly, just order the card saver ones in the way that you inputted it in the online submission form. And all you have to do is take 2 pieces of cardboard, sandwich your card saver ones in between them. Use your rubber bands to secure the card savers. So you want to use at least 2, I would say. This way they're well protected. They're not going to really shift around too much. What I would do next is then take some bubble wrapper, wrap this sort of a few times, and then place it in a box and then send it over to PSA. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please consider using my eBay affiliate link in the description below. Or you can like and subscribe if you do like this content. And yeah, please let me know if you guys have any questions. I'd be happy to answer any comments that you guys may have. Have a good day, guys. See ya.